And welcome back, rugby fans, to Rugby411. As always, I'm your host. My name is Joshua Shibata, and this is round 2, 2026 Pacific 4 Series preview. The big women's tournament involving 4 of the best women's national rugby teams: the United States, Canada, Australia, and New Zealand. This is round 2. I'll review round 1, of course, with the results, and then preview round 2 here. Again, forewarning for those international fans that check out these videos, this is going to be more of a USA-centric video. I will talk about, of course, the other teams in the competition, but more likely spotlighting a lot more of the USA and what teams USA are playing against. So, in week 1, USA facing off against New Zealand, who, as I mentioned before, have won this competition 3 times. They are the defending winners last year. And man, even though this is technically the beginning of a brand new cycle leading into the 2029 Rugby World Cup for the women, and all these teams are kind of rebooting, restarting. A lot of teams have new head coaches. The Black Ferns still look like top-class world beaters. They defeated the United States 48-15. In that game, we'll talk about it. Hope Rogers scored the first try, and congratulations once again to Hope Rogers. 60 caps as a USA Eagle. That is the most by any USA Women's Rugby Eagles player, and she is continuing to rack up the caps. So she scored the first try of the game, but then New Zealand struck back with the first 2 of 3 tries for Marianne Paul, who just looked phenomenal. The first try that she scored was champagne rugby. She kicked the ball over the head of a defender, picked it up, and scored. Again, she had a hat trick in this game. She had a hat trick a couple of times before when she played against the United States. She is a dangerous player and a great player for the Black Ferns. Also, shout out to Renee Holmes, who not only kick conversions, but also scored 2 tries of her own. Renee Holmes had 23 points total in the game, 2 tries, 6 for 8 off of the tee. Either her or Marianne Paul would eventually be my players of the match in the game. USA did come back with a try by Eric Coulibaly, but even with New Zealand getting a yellow card earlier in the match and then a red card near the end of the game, it didn't really matter. The defense for USA was stifled. It should also be mentioned that this game, both this game and the Canada-Australia game, had just massive amounts of rain. Well, actually, I'm sorry. The Canada-Australia game had massive amounts of rain. USA-New Zealand game was starting to feel a little bit of the elements. No excuse, though, for the United States. It was all New Zealand in this game, and they really showed their class. Like I said, 48-50 was the final score. I do want to give a shout out to Beth Vogel, who was one of 3 USA Eagles players that made their debut in this game. She was the fly half for the game. She was the kicker. Phenomenal player, and just seeing the smile on her face when she was able to play for the USA Eagles for the very first time, that is truly what rugby's all about. Seeing people that work their way from the high school to the college to finally get to the national rankings, national level, and just be able to represent their country. It really is the true great story of not only rugby here in the United States, but that's everywhere around the world. So congratulations to Beth Vogel, as well as to, Bella Vogel, as well as to Han Humphreys, and as well as to Renee Woods and Abigail Patton for all making their debut last week. But again, USA fell quite short to New Zealand, 48-15. On the other hand, Australia and Canada being the number 2 ranked, they are also the only other team to ever win the Pacific 4 Series. They have, I believe, 2 titles under their belts. Canada looked really, really good. They beat Australia 24-0. Again, that game was kind of a slog because there was a massive rain delay. They didn't even let fans watch this game because of fear of thunderstorms. So it was very tough for both, but Canada looked like the class and they were able to beat Australia. So that leads us now to week 2 or round 2. This time it's going to be happening Friday, April 17th. Both games happening at the CPKC Stadium in Kansas City, Kansas. That is the site where the USA had a huge win over Canada in last year's or last iteration, which was 2024's Pacific Force Series. This time it will be Australia taking on USA and Canada taking on New Zealand. Number 2 Canada versus number 3 New Zealand. That will be an exciting match. And then, of course, Australia versus USA. Both games you can see on Paramount Plus, by the way. Let's talk about a little bit more about the Australia-USA game. See, we're going to pull up the roster right there. So, Jack Hanratty, the new head coach for the Women's USA Eagles team. As I mentioned before, this is a new cycle getting ready for the next Rugby World Cup for the women. So, no changes in the starting 15. I believe head coach Hanratty is basically trying to find a cohesive unit to consistently play together, get their play style down. So no changes to top 15. Only changes we have are in the reserves. We have Paige Sestopoulos coming in at number 16, as well as number 20, Tessa Hahn, who is from the USA Sevens women's program. She's played a couple of matches there, as well as had a couple of caps with the 15s, coming out of Central Washington University. But the rest is all the same. A couple of people to focus on with Australia. Want to focus on, of course, Desiree Miller, Desiree Miller had 2 tries against the United States when they played against each other during the Rugby World Cup. Rugby World Cup, the finish was a 31-31 draw. That was the last time that the USA and the Wallaroos played against each other. And the last time that they played in the Pacific Force Series, Australia won 27-19. In the record so far between the USA and Australia, USA has beaten Australia 6 times, lost 3, tied 1. But as I mentioned just now, the last 2 times that Australia and the USA have played against each other, Australia has won 1 and they tied during the Rugby World Cup. So Australia kind of starting to surge against the United States. Similar to the United States, Australia also has a new head coach in Sam Needs. He was the assistant head coach during the Rugby World Cup, but then took over once Joanne Yap, who was the head coach, has stepped down after the Rugby World Cup. Desiree Miller, as I mentioned before, someone to watch out for. And then Eva Kaparni, she scored 4 tries. 2 tries against the United States during the Rugby World Cup, and then 2 in the Pacific Force Series. So another person to watch out for in this game. Also, too, both Desiree Miller and Eva Kaparni have quite a few caps under their belt. Eva Kaparni has actually 41 caps. She is one of the most cap players of a rather young Australian Wallaroo team. They have a lot of young players close to the age of 18 and 19. So, some inexperience. It'll be interesting to see how that plays against the USA Eagles. USA Eagles do have some young players, but for the most part, average about 20 caps each. So they have a lot more experience than the Wallaroos do. So we'll see. Maybe USA can pull off the victory here. They, of course, will have the home field advantage. Of course, the other game, Canada and New Zealand, that will be an exciting one. Number 2 Canada against number 3 New Zealand. And then, of course, after this, we finally have the last third round matchup. USA and Canada will face off against each other in Chicago, while Australia and New Zealand will be going down to Australia to play that final match. So, yeah, again, Pacific Force Series, if you can check it out, highly recommend. It is some of the best women's national teams in the world face off against each other, and you can watch it all live or on demand on Paramount Plus. Again, thank you very much for checking out my video. I appreciate your support, and I'll see you on the pitch.